So when I say the word library, what pops into your head? Probably a quiet building, right? Stacks and stacks of books. But the idea, the concept of a library is so much bigger than that. It's actually one of humanity's oldest and most ambitious projects. This continuous effort stretching back thousands of years to gather up everything we know, keep it safe, and share it. Today, we're going to trace that incredible journey. And this quote from Francis Bacon, it kind of nails it. It really gets to the heart of our story. It's all about the transformative power of knowledge. And that's something libraries have always tried to provide, shaping not just you and me, but whole societies.
You know, before the first word was ever carved into stone or written on a scroll, knowledge was a living, breathing thing. It was passed down from one generation to the next through what we call oral tradition. Just think about the ancient Sanskrit Vedas in India for a second. Entire epic poems and sacred texts that were perfectly memorized and recited for centuries. That was the very first library, stored entirely inside the human mind. But of course, once we started writing things down, we needed a place to keep it all. And that journey began with simple clay tablets in Mesopotamia and these beautiful papyrus scrolls in Egypt. This evolution eventually led to these monumental achievements like the Library of Ashurbanipal, which was one of the first to be systematically cataloged, which is a huge deal. And then, of course, the legendary Library of Alexandria, which was, without a doubt, the intellectual capital of the entire ancient world. But here's the thing you've got to remember. These early libraries were not for everybody. Not even close. They were exclusive, elite places. If you weren't a priest or some high-ranking official or a very special scholar, the doors to all that knowledge, they were slammed shut.
Okay, so that is a huge difference from the library down the street from you, right? So what happened? What was the big shift? How did we get from these private collections for the powerful to this idea of a library for absolutely everyone? Well, that question brings us right into the modern era. The modern public library is honestly a revolutionary concept. People often call it the People's University, and for good reason. It's not just a product of some social trend, it's a product of democracy itself. This radical idea that knowledge shouldn't be locked away. It should be freely and equally available to every single person. And this whole idea, it wasn't just a nice thought. It was actually written down in this landmark UNESCO Public Library Manifesto. This document lays out the absolute core principles. It's a living symbol of democracy, it has to be paid for with public money, and, this is the big one, its services must be completely free and open to all. No exceptions. That became the gold standard for public libraries all over the world. Okay, so we've got the ideal, but how does it actually work in the real world? To find out, we're going to zoom in on a really fascinating case study, the public library movement in India. You see, the story of libraries in India is really the story of the nation itself. It's a journey from its colonial beginnings all the way to a massive post-independence push to bring education and information to hundreds of millions of people. It really happened in 4 big stages. It started back in the 1800s with libraries founded by Europeans in the major cities. Then things really kicked into gear with the incredible Baroda movement in the early 20th century. They pioneered a whole statewide system, even with traveling libraries. After that came this massive grassroots push for adult education. And finally, after independence in 1947, India put modern library laws in place and launched huge projects like the Delhi Public Library. But look, creating a national system is one thing. Making it actually work for everyone day in and day out is a whole other challenge. So to get the real picture, we're going to drill down even further to the rural libraries in the Indian state of Karnataka and really look at the gap between the dream and the daily reality. On paper, the vision for these rural libraries is honestly incredible and so vital. They're designed to be way more than just a place with books. They're supposed to be true community hubs, offering everything from health and farming advice to career guidance for young people, all while making local culture even stronger. But the reality on the ground? Well, that's a different story. These libraries are up against some enormous hurdles. And it's not just about not having enough money. It's this whole complex web of social and practical challenges, like physical distance that keeps villagers away, a simple lack of awareness about what the library even has to offer, and sometimes just a general mistrust of public programs. You know, the struggles that libraries are facing in places like rural Karnataka, they're not totally unique. They're actually part of a global conversation about what a library is even for in the 21st century. As the world changes, the library has to change right along with it. These days, a huge amount of information isn't in books, right? It's online. And that's created what we call the digital divide, this gap between people who have easy access to the internet and those who don't. And you know who has stepped up to be one of the most important bridges across that gap? The public library.
And this number, wow, it just drives the point home. Now, this statistic comes from the United States, but it speaks to a universal truth. For a huge number of people, especially in rural areas, the public library isn't just a place to get online, it's the only place. It's an absolutely vital lifeline for everything from doing homework to applying for a job.
So, the mission has totally expanded. The modern library is this dynamic, multi-purpose space. It's still a home for books, for sure, but it's also a digital access point, a cultural center, a classroom for lifelong learning, and a crucial meeting place that strengthens the very fabric of a community. So from ancient clay tablets all the way to the digital cloud, the library's form has changed, but its core purpose has always been the same, to empower people with knowledge. And that brings this whole story right back to you, to your neighborhood. Your local library is a powerful resource, a direct continuation of this ancient human project. The only question left is, what role are you and your community going to choose for it next?